Okay, so welcome to the final class in this series. So we're looking at sort of springtime, this idea of trees and walking and our connection to the earth, and that kind of being a resourceful thing through strength and connection. And also we've been looking at kind of how it can um, bring about a sort of sense of open-mindedness and open-heartedness. And now again, that can kind of bring a positive healing and deeper connection for us. So this week, I'm going to read something to you, an extract from The Old Ways by Robert Macfarlane. And while I do this, if you've got access to the outdoor view, then take in the outdoor view. If you haven't, then you can close your eyes and imagine the view of your choice, and then we'll sit. So within this reading, it's referring to landscape more generically. So we've been keeping more focused on the earth beneath our feet and a tree, and then last time we were kind of also within a wood or a forest. So this time we're kind of going wider to the wider landscape where there certainly would be trees. Okay. So, landscape is still often understood as a noun, connecting to something fixed, scenery. It's immobile. I prefer to think of the word as a noun containing a hidden verb, landscapescapes, dynamic, where commotion causing, it sculpts and shapes us not only over the course of our lives, but also instant by instant, incident by incident. I prefer to take landscape as a collective term for the temperature and pressure of the air, the fall of light and its rebounds, the textures and surfaces of rock, soil, and building, the sounds like bird cry, wind through trees, the scents like pine resin, and the uncountable other transitory phenomena and atmospheres that together comprise the bristling presence of a particular place at a particular moment. Okay, so yeah, take that as you will. I won't try and say any more about that. And last time we were also talking, and it relates to what I've just read there. We were talking or connecting with the idea of kind of energy, the energy that's created from the world outside, from the earth, from the trees, particularly, and there's a much broader way of connecting. So maybe hold that as well as we come to sit and take a more reflective space. So sitting as comfortably as you can today, finding your seat, whether it's on the ground or on the chair, and moving any way you need to move to think, okay, I might, just to settle, what might help me here to become more able to be still and to be calm and to be settled, recognizing that we can't stay still for too long. We might need to make minor adjustments. And within that, having a sense of both the bottom on the chair, the feet on the floor, but also the spine, having a slight but gentle sense of aliveness and energy, so that subtle uplift without us holding ourselves in any kind of artificial way, but that we know there's an upward energy as well as a downward energy to the ground. Find a place for our hands, and if we're comfortable, closing our eyes, or doing what we feel is going to be the most helpful to have a kind of inward connection. Okay, so as we come inward, just getting a feel for the body in place, wherever your place is, and the connection to the ground and the support from the ground, support from the chair or the floor immediately below our bottom or our legs, whichever makes the strongest connection. And maybe a sense of the breathing, energetic body. And maybe a sense of the spine from the tail all the way through to reach the skull, and maybe even beyond that, through the skull to the crown of the head. So that sense of breathing in and kind of a sense of rise, and a breathing out, just returning to the support of the earth. So that even in stillness, we know there is movement of the breath, movement within the body, of various fluids and organs and changes. So being conscious of that energy, that movement, and that life that connects down and anchors us to the ground, but also is a force, an upward force into space. So before we kind of go on our walking journey of visualization, just for a moment to recall, remind the role of wood. Yeah, spring is kind of the season of the wood element. So reminding us of the role of wood within our own homes. Yeah, so wood will be all around us. Floorboards, we might be sitting on a wooden chair, might regularly sit at a wooden table, might have shelves with our favorite books on, maybe a mantelpiece, stairs, the banister, our only way of connecting from the ground to the higher levels of the home. Maybe objects that are dear to us, things that are new, things that are old. Some of my favorite things are made of wood. An old dresser and another old chest of drawers that was my great aunt's, and that's well over 100 years, and it's been kind of around my life since I had my own home. So it's moved around, but it's always been a constant, the oldest thing that I know of in my home. So we're surrounded by wood, and it will have a resonance. Some things will be very background and functional. Some things will be something of beauty, something we have particularly selected or crafted or had crafted. So the role of wood as a support in our lives, a structure to our lives, within and the heart of our home. and surrounded by that, walking on wood, sleeping kind of on wood. Maybe you got a wooden bed, maybe not. So moving, moving on and through. So an invitation to go on another visualized walking journey in the landscape. Yeah, so certainly part of the focus for this is just the diversity of perspectives, the diversity of connections, the different ways of seeing the world. So again, connecting to kind of this open-mindedness, this open-hearted states that we can have a greater connection to, and something we can kind of grow. So today we're going to be stepping out into a landscape which might be known or unknown. And the center of the journey is around a wood or a forest area, which again can be real or imaginary. I will be kind of suggesting elements within that which might not be within your wood of choice. So you either just let that go or you slightly adapt to your vision, up to you. But just getting yourself in that place that is the landscape. And we're going to start our journey just as sun rises. So it's kind of a journey through not just a not, and it is a journey through time. It's not just a journey of time outside of time. So we might feel different in the morning as the sun arises, if we see it, if we're aware of it, and if we're in landscapes. I know some of you certainly do that. So it might be very familiar, or it might be something that's a little bit more outside of your everyday. So we're in a landscape and we're walking or heading towards a forest or wood. And we have the light and the experience of being the beginning of the day. And that will impact how we are. And things like the arrival of the day, we're usually a bit quieter. And we're usually a little bit more connected. There's usually less going on in our own minds. And we're a bit more awake, perhaps. And the day will be cooler, fresher. So there's a visual sense of the day through whatever a sunrise means to you. And that could be behind you, it could be on a hillside. But a sense of the start of the day and the sunrise. And the sense of being in movement. So a gentle walk, or a faster walk, or a run if you prefer, or a mixture. So we are feeling our movement through landscape. So every moment will be slightly different. Yeah, we're going to feel the earth differently. It's going to be different under our feet. It's going to give us a different perspective, and we're going to have all of life around us. So we're going to have sounds. We're going to have a felt experience. We're going to have the smells, whether it's dampness, whether it's dryness, whether it's a flower or a plant, whether it's a farm, whether it's an animal. So aromas and textures will come and they will go. But we have a big view of the landscape, if that's okay, fairly big view. So the wood might be in view or might be really quite distant, but it will be coming closer. So as we get closer to something, we're able to see greater depth, more detail, more specifics. We might be drawn towards something. So if that's kind of our destination, our link, our draw, our trail, our journey, our way, then we have an energy, a drive towards something. So the day's moving on, getting lighter, getting warmer, maybe, giving it springtime, spring into summer. And everything's still in transition, as it always is, but maybe a bit more present during this season. New flowers arriving, lambs getting bigger, ducklings getting bigger. So maybe in the heat of the day, we're now arriving in the wood, side of the wood, just getting ready to enter the wood. And it may be a wood we know well. So we kind of both know what to expect, but also have an element of return. Or it might be something of our imagination which is completely new. And we want to see, we want to arrive somewhere on a new trail with a new experience and an excitement around the newness. There may be something particular about this wood or forest. Maybe it's diversity. It may be a particular tree or types of tree. It might be what's on the undergrowth of the tree. There's still the odd bluebell around. There's still a little bit of wild garlic around, certainly the smell. Bracken and other more kind of summer, spring seedlings are getting well established now. Ferns, and the heat has kind of taken away some of the dampness of the earth until recently. So less moss and green and damp within the woods, less mud, more dust. So within the wood, within the forest, there may be a breeze through the trees, which again is a really kind of enlivening, as long as you're safe, energetic reminder. So we may wish to look up at the trees. We might want to climb a little bit of the tree. You might want to touch the trees. Some trees might be new, some trees might be very ancient, much older than ourselves. Really tall trees, as well as saplings. Maybe changing light now. So there might be clouds coming over, and sometimes the sun drifting through, sometimes that dissipates. We get light and shade. And we get light and shade from the tree shelter. Forever changing light. And we might pause for a moment, finding some water, a stream, a pool, a pond, or some other watery feature. And we might be able to see the trees in the water. Another perspective of the tree from below reflected into the water. Close enough to touch what might be the higher leaves on the tree through the reflection. And the change of light as the light reflects on the water. And as the day moves on, we get ready to move beyond the wood and above the wood, so that by the end of the day, we can look down on the wood or above and beyond. We clearly can see the wood within the landscape. We can see the bigger picture. We can remember where we were in the wood, but the wood doesn't seem the same wood from above. It's a different perspective, a different connection. As the sun sets, the light changes. The life around you changes, different birds, different sounds. So we may choose to sit, we may walk and have a view above our wood or our forest that we know is not ours. Usually, it's a shared space with many who will all have a different experience and connection of that space and that landscape. So allowing that to become background for a moment and remembering or reminding or imagining a new tree being planted. It might be something that you've been involved in, someone else has been involved in, you've contributed to in some way, you've seen as you've passed by, or you've seen a new forest area or less than a forest area, just an individual tree being planted. So as we know the trees in our lives that have grown up with us, alongside us. We've moved into areas and seen over the years, things change. Trees getting bigger, different trees, some trees coming down, some trees not surviving, bits of branches coming off. We also can see new life coming, of which some of that we're going to see. But that will be there, hopefully, most likely, for generations to come. Trees tend to outlive us. Or lots of trees do, not all trees, but lots of trees are here for the long term. And that gives us a different perspective. You know, we might be giving life, we might be um, seeing what the future is. We might be contributing to that, and certainly we might be at least acknowledging that other people, I know some of you do this, but acknowledging that other people are looking forward and are providing for other people's future, who may walk through their woods, or the woods that we see being created that don't seem that much just at the moment. So our woods are our woods, maybe, that we know and we see and we know have developed and have been there for centuries or for long periods. But there are going to be new trees, woods developed in front of our eyes. A sign of new life. So as we hold the earth, the landscape, the woods, as we recognize it's integral to our own lives, both internally, literally internally in our own homes, in our own life, and externally in our relationship to the land, the earth. It takes us back, it takes us forward. It opens our hearts, it opens our minds to just how deep and different we can see things. And it just reminds us, brings us back to big mind, big heart, even for a moment. Those moments where we catch and those deeper connections. And we have that as a felt experience. Maybe now you hold that sense, you can feel it in the body and breathe it. And there might be lots of things going through your mind, but just quieten it and sit with it for just a few moments. And when you're ready, then coming back to your sense of whole body on the chair, whole body sitting with energy and life, and whole body connected to the earth and the landscape. And a bit of movement swaying, maybe like a tree in the wind. Some trees sway a little bit more than others. Some leaves wave to us, some don't. They wave to me. I assume they wave to everybody else as well. And opening the eyes, if the eyes aren't opening, just having a wriggle, having a stretch, awakening to the next part of your day. Okay, tree people. So happy spring to summer as well. So all these things are kind of reminders, and obviously as we walk, we're reminded literally by these things and touched by these things. But we can also sit in those areas and sit with that feeling. So we can do these kind of practices outdoors. We can just be more mindful as we walk. We can be more connected to our environment that we want to explore, and different ways, sometimes in challenging ways, sometimes in very kind of light way, sometimes in a supportive way. So it's really there to acknowledge and to build each other up, really. So on that note, I will be back, plan to be back sometime in September, something like that. So happy summer and thank you for being here. And I will see some of you during that time or hear from you, hopefully during that time. Take care and see you then.